socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human trafficker.
Honourable
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome to ATN Global News. First, the headlines. Rivers APC holds 1 million man march for Tinubu. Wike approves 2 months free train ride in FCT. Tinubu orders review of governing boards of tertiary institutions. Petroleum Minister records 16.6 billion naira investment under Togo to book semi-final sports. Actors plan to advise FG on ritual sin. And now the rest of our stories. Stakeholders in the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, support groups, non-indigenes of the party in Rivers State, today the 23rd of March 2024, held a 1 million march in the state in support and thanks to the visionary leadership of Bola Tinubu as his administration marks 1 year in office. The stakeholders from across the 23 local government areas in Rivers State walked the streets of Port Harcourt, singing praises of President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which is yielding positive results across the country. Speaking at the APC State Secretariat in Port Harcourt on Thursday, Chairman APC Caretaker Committee Sir Tony Okocha thanked President Bola Tinubu for his support and the appointment of Nyesom Wike as a minister of the Federal Capital Territory. The APC Chairman further called on the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, to come over to All Progressive Congress and lead the party to another victory come 2027.
That 001 was responsible for the jeans-breaking victory of Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in Rivers State. That 001 is a reformer. That 001 is a dean of policies of Nigeria. The other reason I told them, I gave to them, was the fact that this man called Nyesom Wike is a game changer. He has a Midas touch. And I remember, you will remember, that we have been wooing him to come over to Macedonia to help us. This is again one of those attempts to woo him to come over to ABC and help us so that we will continue to win election for Mr. President, particularly when election comes for 2027. Why is it matters?
Consequently, the APC Caretaker Committee Chairman, Sir Tony Okocha, also took a swipe on the activities of the governor of Rivers State, where he regretted how the state governor is using his position to cause problems in the state, as well as abusive words that is capable of instigating violence. Okocha, who asked the governor to allow the 27 House of Assembly members, led by Martins Amehule, to function freely according to the law, accused him of involving ethnicity in Rivers politics when the man who brought him to power acted without ethnic sentiment. He urged the governor to release the allocation of the local government chairman in order to avoid looming anarchy in the state.
Once his matters are in court, he is taking the laws into his hands. These assembly members, we voted for them. They are not his appointees. And worst case is that they are members of the All Progressives Congress. With the assembly under the speakership, very vibrant and erudite speakership of Right Honorable Martins, Chike, and Mewin, DSSROS, will stand behind him and his 26 other colleagues. The governor, because of his inordinate desperation, cannot make Rivers State have an assembly of 3 members out of 32 seats that we have. So we caution him to tread on the path of the law and never to take the laws into his hands.
Also speaking at the event, APC women leader in Rivers State, Rita Jumbo, cautioned the Rivers State governor to apologize to Rivers women for the continuous humiliation and disregard in governance.
As a mother, I'm here to condemn the act of our governor, Simfubara, the humanizing and the humiliating of women of Rivers State. As women of Rivers State, we are women of substance. But we were all aware that our governor and God dragged our women on the streets naked.
Anyway, from that, Bayelsa State Police Command Force has declared 13 persons wanted of an alleged threat to peace in Yenagoa, the state's capital city. The State Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Musa Mohammed, in a statement said the 13 suspects are guilty of conducting a youth election that threatened the peace of the state after the police had earlier issued a warning that preparations and all related activities towards the conduct of the Epie Etisa Youth Council election be suspended. The statement also said the state capital will not compromise its security and peace due to the actions of unruly youths who are unable to reach a simple understanding through civil processes, adding that all processes related to the Epie Etisa Youth Council election are suspended until further notice. The command therefore urges all parties to remain calm and adhere to this directive to ensure the continued safety and harmony of the community. Governorship candidates of the People's Democratic Party in November 11th, 2023 election in Imo State, Senator Samuel Ayamu, has urged the people of the state to remain calm as the Electoral Tribunal delivers judgment. A statement forwarded to Ayamu said the unity of the state will not be threatened in any guise if the court sacks all Progressives Congress candidates, Governor Hope Uzodinma, and declares him winner. Ayamu, who doubles as the National Secretary of the PDP, further enjoined the people of Imo State to be prayerful in view of the coming judgment, assuring that his party is prepared to deliver dividends of democracy to the people of the state should the court restore his stolen mandate. They appeal to party members and also Imo people in general to the law abiding by shunning acts of violence. Analysts have commended the Anambra State Governor, Charles Soludo, for the move to resolve issues regarding the new minimum wage implementation for workers in the state. Speaking on Atlantic blowout, a socio-political analyst, Abel Abraham, lauded Governor Charles Soludo for taking urgent steps to resolving issues that will make a pathway of emulation for other state governors across the country.
Trying to create a pathway for other governors to tread. And I must commend him because I think other states are shying away from having even a closed-door meeting with the
Abraham also advised state governors to adopt an open-door policy to discuss the well-being of civil servants in their states.
We are not ready for that. We can't afford your demands, so most of them don't even want to hold those meetings. For him to even go at length, having these closed-door meetings and coming to a conclusion of a lot of things were trashed out and some things were up for them to consider is a kudos to him. And I believe, coming from someone that worked with CBN, maybe you understand where these people are complaining, their complaints, you understand all those things they are bringing to the table. So I'm hoping, I'm praying this thing should come to reality.
This is coming after the Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, had set up committees to resolve the 7 issues raised by organized labor in the state, while on May 15th, Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union of Nigeria issued a 7-day strike notice to Soludo over his refusal to fully implement the 2019 minimum wage policy. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has approved the recruitment of 338 officers into the State Traffic Management Authority to enhance road traffic and regulation across the state. The chairman, Major Adesamba Adekoya, who disclosed this known in a statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information, Dotun Oyalede in Ibadan, the state capital said about 2,450 applications were received from qualified candidates during the screening exercise held at Otima Operational Headquarters, Sayo, Ibadan. He said the screening exercise was a manifestation of responsive governance of Governor Makinde, who deems the approval fit to increase the strength of the OYRTMA with 338 officers, and also explained that the approval was in pursuance as a result of the revalidated approval policy signed in 2021. He also said qualified applicants at the first stage will move to the other stages from the interview session that would be conducted by the Civil Service Commission and Ministry of Establishment and Training. Earlier, the chairman of the Civil Service Commission, who was represented by the Senior Administrative Officer of the Recruitment, Adelowo Olodepo, commended the state government for the opportunity of reducing the pressure of unemployment in the state, while the Director of Recruitment and Civil Matters, Ministry of Establishment and Training, Olushola Ojalabi, highlighted the exercise as a proactive step to address road. Analysts has advised state governors across the country to restructure their health sectors for the health and well-being of the people. Speaking on Atlantic Society Watch, a public affairs analyst Dagogo Johnson said a well-structured health institution across the country will go a long way in enhancing the economic status of the nation as well as other foreign investments.
If we will be able to grow our health institution to attract foreigners, foreign investment, foreigners coming into this country, into the various parts of the states in this country to come and seek medical attention. I mean, today we are talking about the exchange rate and all that, okay? These are the sort of things that will help, you know, balance this.
He also called on other state governors to emulate the development to restructure its respective health facilities across the state.
So if the other states in the country can emulate it and then, you know what, develop the health sector so that even the politicians that are running here and there for medical.
This is coming after the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, says the state is not relenting in its effort to offer high-quality medical services that meet or exceed international standards. Independent National Electoral Commission says it has approved updates on the upcoming governorship elections in Ondo State. The commission said the 17 political parties have uploaded their candidates' nomination forms for the election by the deadline of 6 p.m. on Monday, 20th May 2024, when the dedicated portal automatically shut down. The Commission have also published the personal particulars by displaying copies of Form EC9 along with all academic credentials and other documents submitted by each candidate at the state headquarters in Akure and the 18 local government officers across the state. The commission appealed to Nigerians to scrutinize the documents for any aspirant who participated in his or her party primaries with reasonable grounds to believe that the information provided by a candidate or running mate is false and can challenge the nomination in the Federal High Court as provided in Section 29, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act 2022. INEC also said the Ondo State governorship election is scheduled for Saturday, the 16th November 2024. Troops of the 22nd Armored Brigade and Forward Operating Base, FOB, Patigi, have rescued 5 kidnapped persons during search and rescue operation at Olapade Olayinka village in Ifelodu local government area of Kwara State. Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 22nd Armored Brigade, Stephen Wanko, in a statement said the rescued victims are 4 females and a child. And the victims were kidnapped on 15th May and rescued following an intelligence report from local residents and vigilantes, which prompted the troops to swing into action. The statement said Commander 22nd Brigade, Brigadier General O.F. Williams, formally handed over the rescue persons to Shonibari, Chairman, Ifelodu Local Government Council, at a brief ceremony, and assured Shonibari and the people of Kwara State that the army would prevent activities of criminals, bandits, and kidnappers. He stressed the brigade's readiness to continue to do its best and enjoin the people to provide useful and timely information to help the military and security agencies respond in conducting joint operations, which is in line with the Chief of Army Staff's command philosophy. Suspected thugs attacked some protesting members of the North Central APC midway through the protests in front of the national headquarters of the All Progressive Congress in Abuja on Thursday. The protesters had stormed the party secretariat to demand the resignation of the APC National Chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, and allowed the leadership seat previously occupied by Abdullahi Adamu to return to the North Central. Chanting solidarity songs and displaying banners that read, "Return APC National Chairmanship to the North Central and Dr. Ganduje kindly resign to face a persecution in Kano." The protesters appealed to President Bola Tinubu and the Secretary to the government of the Federation, just beating them with sticks as they fled in different directions. Addressing journalists after they regrouped a few blocks away from the party secretariat, Plateau State Coordinator of the North Central APC stakeholders, Hamisu Suleiman, lamented the treatment meted out to them, saying they will not be deterred until justice is served. While the Deputy National Organization Secretary of the party, Nzechidi Duru, said the protesters were probably not aware of the new arrangement at the last meeting of the APC National Executive Committee in Abuja. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, says Nigerians will enjoy free train rides in the nation's capital for 2 months. He spoke in Abuja at the ministerial sectorial update as part of the activities to mark President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 1 year in office. The FCT minister said with the level of infrastructural projects going on in the FCT, by this time next year, Abuja can compete with other cities, with every other city of the world in terms of road network. Adding that President Tinubu's approval for the removal of FCT from the Treasury single account had been very strategic in the achievements recorded by the FCT under his watch. He said President Tinubu would commission the commercial operation of the Abuja Metro Line and clarify that what was commissioned in the past was a building. Wike, who took time to marshal out the government's achievements under the FCT, said infrastructure, security and education had received serious attention, and also recalled that the impact of the renewed hope agenda was being felt in the FCT civil service. Coalition of political parties in Benue State and the Inter-Party Advisory Council has alleged that insecurity in the state has continued to deteriorate since the present administration of the Governor Hyacinth Aliya assumed office. The parties, which include the Accord Party, All Progressive Grand Alliance, Zenith Labour Party, the New Nigerian People's Party, National Rescue Movement, and some others, also allege a thuggery has resurfaced in the state since the administration was inaugurated in May. The group also raised the alarm over an alleged massive influx of cows and armed Fulani herdsmen into the state, expressing fear of impending attacks on the innocent residents. Zamfara state government says it will begin payment of 30,000 minimum wage to its workers in June. Governor Dauda Lawal, who disclosed this during a meeting with the state chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress in Gusau, said the decision to implement the payment reflects the state government's commitment to improving workers' welfare. This is coming after former President Muhammadu Buhari had in April 2019 signed the 30,000 naira minimum wage into law. However, as of October 2023, about 15 states, including Benue, Kebbi, Kwara, were yet to implement wage. Kano State House of Assembly has resolved all the 4 newly created Emirate Council in the state after they were created by the Ganjude's administration. The dissolution of the affected emirate was a sequel to deliberations of the floor of the House during plenary, where the Kano State Emirate Council Amendment Bill was reconsidered on the floor of the House after scaling second and third reading on Thursday morning. Earlier, the Deputy Speaker Muhammad Batu said, the new Kano Emirate Council law has not only reinstated the 5 demoted kingmakers to their former position, it has also empowered them to reconvene in Kano and restore former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Muhammadu Sanusi as the sole Emir of Kano. The law stated the governor shall take all the necessary measures to restore the status of the Kano Emirate system to its position prior to the enactment of the repealed principal law dated 5th December 2019, thereby giving powers to the state government to reappoint Sanusi as the Emir of Kano. The law added that the traditional office holders and the title holders elevated or appointed to office created under the repealed principal law dated 5th December 2019 shall revert to the position where such positions previously existed under recognized customs and traditions prior to the enactment of the repealed principal law dated 5th December 2019. This provision reappoints the demoted kingmakers and empowered them to choose the new emir who will not be endorsed by Governor Abba Kebe Yusuf, adding that the commissioner responsible for local governments shall oversee all traditional arrangements, including how to best deal with assets and liabilities of the abolished emirates and new structure created under the repealed principal law dated 5th December 2019. Death toll in the Kano Mosque attack has risen to 18, with 7 other victims bedridden. Reacting to the development, the national chairman of All Progressive Congress, Abdullahi Ganjude, has promised to rebuild the mosque. Ganjude made the pledge during a sympathy visit to the victims of Murtala Muhammad Hospital in Kano State, said 18 out of 25 victims of the attack have lost their lives, while 7 are currently receiving treatment at the hospital. Ganjude, during the visit, prayed for the repose of the souls of those who have died as a result of the attack and wished those at the hospital quick recovery. This is coming after Shafiu Abubakar had set the mosque located at Gezawa local government area ablaze during early morning prayers last week. Senate at the plenary has urged the federal government to make provision for a special intervention fund for maintenance of transmission lines in the country. For over a month, the northeastern region has been in total darkness due to destroyed key towers of the power line along Jos Gombe route, and the Senate's resolution was sequel to a motion on the urgent need to address the vandalization of transmission lines of the Transmission Company of Nigeria in Northeast Zone, sponsored by Senator Manu Haruna and 14 other lawmakers from the zone. Senator Haruna drew the attention of his colleagues to the recent incident of vandalization along the Jos Gombe 330 kV transmission line, which has resulted in severe disruption to power supply affecting 7 states in the zone.
The Senate notes that the vandalization of critical electricity transmission infrastructure poses a significant threat to the economic prosperity, public health, safety and security of the Northeast region of Nigeria. Further note that recent incident of vandalization along the Jos Gombe 330 kV transmission line have resulted in severe disruption to power supply, affecting the millions of residents, hospitals, commercial activities, communication networks, public safety.
Senator Manu Haruna, Taraba Central, the northern lawmakers, in their contribution to the debate, decried the worsening cases of power outages in the northern parts of the country and called for justice. They also called for more attention to be given to the well-being of the people of the Northeast, whom they said have suffered from long years of neglect.
As a native growing up in my local community, what we used to have no longer exists. The traditional grinding machine that we grind corn and all our consumables that need to be grinded. Today, that does no longer exist. You use electrical machines to grind all you need for your daily consumptions. So without electricity, nothing can really be achieved.
The federal government. We thank the federal government of Nigeria that we have the Northeast Development Commission. But the Northeast Development Commission alone cannot handle the development challenges in the Northeast today. So that, Mr. President, when you will take the lead in pursuing our case, we should go beyond just restoring the electricity that we have that is not even enough in any way in that part of the country, because we received the list.
After the debates, Senate appealed to the President Bola Tinubu in line with the renewed hope agenda of his administration to expedite the construction of the Makodi-Jalingo-Yola Gombe 330 kV transmission line to connect the northeast to the southeast transmission line to preserve as an alternative supply path to the northeast in the event of a fault on the Jos Gombe line. Former President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Abdul Wahid Omar, has been selected by the Political Commission of the Nigerian Labour Congress to head the Transition Committee tasked with revitalizing the Labour Party. Other committee members include Sam Amadi and Abiodu Olamushun, appointed as co-chairman to work with Omar, while Nawihe Nawa is expected to serve as the secretary of the committee, and the committee is expected to organize a national convention within the next 3 months. The leaders also agreed to 13 subcommittees that would be responsible for various aspects of the party's administration, while vice chairman of the NLC on Political Commission, Theophilus Ndubaka, said the purpose of the gathering was to implement previously made resolutions from the inaugural meeting. He said with the formation of the Transition Committee, there is no longer a leadership vacuum within the Labour Party, and the committee is expected to begin its work immediately. This is coming after in March, during the party's national convention held in Nnewi, Anambra State, Julius Abure was elected as the national chairman of the Labour Party. Bill submitted to the National Assembly is seeking the amendment of provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 to give inmates in Nigerian prisons the right to vote in election in the country. The proposed legislation is titled Bill for an Act to amend the Electoral Act to provide for the right to vote for persons detained or incarcerated in custodial institutions and other places of detention and related matters, and also known as Electoral Custodial Inmate Bill 2024. And the bill is sponsored by a not-for-profit organization, the Carmelite Prisoners Interest Organization, and drafted by the Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners, led by Dr. Toye Clinton Jaja. To give voting rights to inmates of Nigerian prisons, the bill proposed amendments to relevant provisions of the current Electoral Act 2022, particularly Section 9, 12, 13, 40, and 152, and the bill suggested that Section 40 of the Electoral Act 2022 should be amended by inserting after the existing subsection 2 thereof a new subsection 3 as follows. The bill equally seeks to establish voters registration centers at the prisons across the country, and the development will be actualized by amending Section 9 of the Electoral Act 2022 and by inserting the new subsection 8, which reads that the Commission shall designate the registration centers in approximate to custodial centers and detention facilities in consultation with the head of such institution or facility. Also, the proposed bill seeks to provide inmates who were registered in a different area before their incarceration with the right to transfer their polling units to the location of the prison in which they are held. People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar says he is planning to contest for the 2027 presidential elections. Atiku disclosed this in Abuja, said he will be 81 years of age by the time the next presidential election comes around in 2027, and he has run for the presidency 6 times but has been on the ballot as a presidential candidate on 3 occasions, ranging from 2027, 2007, 2019, and 2023, respectively. Abubakar said he is consoled by the fact that former United States President Abraham Lincoln did not win the presidential vote on the first time of asking, adding that the crisis in the People's Democratic Party needs to be resolved among the factional groups to win the presidential election in 2027. This is coming amid speculation of him forming a coalition with other political parties after Atiku had met with the counterpart from the Labour Party, presidential candidate Peter Obi. Centers Against Injustice and Domestic Violence, along with Advocate for Social Justice and Defense of Rule of Law, have expressed worries regarding the move by Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi San to take control of significant prosecution involving a foreign oil company and 5 others accused of an $8.4 billion fraud. The group said the 12-figure BV and Chamgira PTE Limited are on trial alongside oil marketers Osaho Asemota and Yusuf Kwande, as well as Metal Energy and Gas Rebranded Limited and Jill Engineering and Oil Service Limited, and they are charged with conspiracy, stealing and receiving stolen property related to the theft of 6.4 metric tons of diesel oil valued at $8.4 million from Nadabo Energy Limited in October 2008. The trial has been ongoing for 6 years before Justice Mojisola Dada at the Ikeja Special Offense Court. Faced delays as the AGF's office intervened, citing constitutional powers under section 174 subsection 1b to take over criminal proceedings, and so far 17 prosecution witnesses have testified with 4 defense witnesses presented. Kadov, through the conveners Benga Suluki and Ni Adekola, said the trial took a new twist when the Director of Public Prosecution, M.A. Abubakar, announced in a letter dated February 29, 2024 that the Attorney General of the Federation would take over the prosecution. While describing Fagbemi as a dedicated advocate for the rule of law and justice, the people urged him to allow the trial court to resolve the case based on his merits and evidence. Justice Suleiman Begori of the Federal Capital Territory High Court has granted the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sikira, and his brother, Ahmed Abubakar Sirika, bail in the sum of 100 million naira each, and 2 sureties. One of the sureties must own a landed property in the Federal Capital Territory in like sum, while the defendants are not to travel outside the shores of Nigeria without the permission of the court. While delivering the ruling on the bail application, Justice Bagores held that there was no reason to depart from the conditions granted by the learned brother and went ahead to grant them bail in the same condition as Justice Silvanus Origi of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja. Ruling on the motion on notice for the first defendant, Hadi Sirika, the court held that the prosecution filed no counter affidavit, while the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had accused Sirika of conferring undue advantage on his brother and his company, Engineers Nigeria Limited, for which the sum were paid for with no trace of work done to date. Nigeria Inter-Religious Council, NIREC, has marked its first quarter 2024 meeting focusing on the role of religious leaders in combating corruption and cybercrimes. The meeting convened stakeholders including youth, women, religious leaders, and experts in the fight of corruption to discuss way forward and propose solutions in order to end corruption and cybercrimes in Nigeria. The Secretary to the Government of the Federal Judge Akume highlights the areas of the corruption and cybercrimes, which he said the government is committed to use Economic Financial Crime Commissions and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Offences Commission, who are saddled with the responsibility of fighting corruption and cybercrimes.
Devastating consequences. These include rise in terrorism, illicit monetary flow, ritual activities to acquire riches, modern slavery, and human trafficking, disruption of economic systems through hacking, destruction of moral values through pornography, and what have you. The institutional battle to fight the cybercrime has been through the EFCC, ICPC, the police, associated technology-based efforts, and the judiciary. Moderate successes have been recorded, especially in the areas of apprehension, prosecution, and convictions. This remains work in progress. This administration shall leave no stone unturned in exterminating the scourge. Distinguished leaders, addressing this challenge is assuming a dimension of an emergency.
The conveners, chairman of NIREC, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Mahmoud Saad Abubakar, and his co-chairman, Father Professor Cornelius A. Omonokwa, argued that the good knowledge of the religious handbooks, Bible and Quran is a way to end corruption, as it teaches right things to do and wrong things to avoid, while EFCC and ICPC continue to sensitize the society on the need to stop corruption and cybercrimes in accordance to the law.
There are two things in this world, the good things and the evil things. All good things come from education. All evil things come from ignorance. Ignorance. That's what you read. I hope you didn't read differently. All these things. So all those things come from education. If you are educated, of course, you are religion. You know what religion said you should do, you should not do. Whether it's your Holy Quran, your Bible, or your what the other book of this other people. There are so many, But we know here we have two. We have two here. I think there are so many. But we have two here. We have Quran, we have Bible. So if you hold on to these two holy books and you follow the teachings, you cannot go wrong.
Today we shall hear from two speakers who are authorities in anti-corruption and the anti-crime campaign from EFCC and from ICPC. And I believe that their presentations will reveal various forms of cybercrime and corruption in Nigeria, which will help us not only to speak up against corruption and cybercrime in a general sense, but to sharpen our strategies in the battle that must be won over wickedness.
While the Acting Director of Public Affairs of the EFCC, Wilson Uwujaren, and Chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, pictured Nigerian society as a platform where wrongdoers are worshipped and protected, while those who tend to do good are seen as wicked ones, which is why corruption has continually progressed in the country.
Corruption is also what is driving our young people to embrace cybercrime. Because when we interact with them, what they tell you is that they don't have opportunities. Jobs are not there, and so they have to find crooked ways to make it. Because the church and the mosque will continue to be relevant in this fight against corruption. You are the people that are closest to every other citizen in this country, because we are a faith-conscious society. We all believe in God, whether you are a Muslim or a Christian, or even those who don't believe in these two religions, we all believe in God. And when the message of God is preached to them, it has a way of affecting the spirit man, and there is no human being that cannot change. People say Nigerians are difficult, but I know that we are all good people. And when they have people who can preach good messages to them, and you manifest the virtue that God has deposited in the clergy, they will listen to you.
Some people that are truthful, people that stand firm, are being looked as foolish or wicked. Once you stand by the truth, you say that correcting must be done, you will be tagged as a difficult person, as somebody who is wicked, and somebody who is a strange person in the society. And that thing is discouraging people to fight corruption, because the society is not encouraging them. And the society is cherishing. You will see how people, those who siphon government money, are being...
Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria has called for the restoration of government funding. The branch chairman under the Senior Staff Association of Universities, Teaching Hospital Research Institutes, and associated institution, Ihonu Chukwemeka, who disclosed this in Abuja, said the funding will enhance the council's advocacy efforts and provide greater support for its members in various educational and research institutions across the country. He said failure to secure government funding will result in further financial strain on teachers already grappling with inadequate working conditions, and called for the support of the Trade Union Congress and the Nigerian Union of Teachers in advocating for the reinstatement of government funding for Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. Addressing the executives of the branch, the sectorial chairman, Baba Mohammed, stressed the necessity of adhering to the union's regulation and promoting constructive dialogue, as well as the importance of inclusivity in decision-making processes, while urging them to ensure all members are involved in key decisions, informed about relevant information. He also spoke on the strict adherence to the union's constitution and any breaches that would result in disciplinary measures, along with decision-making and disseminating of information. Organized labor has offered a final proposal of 497,000 to the federal government, while the private sector proposed 57,000. The tripartite committee on new minimum wage has adjourned till next Tuesday, May 28th, to continue deliberation after Wednesday's meeting in Abuja ended in a deadlock again. This is coming after the federal government, the organized private sector, and the organized labor had failed to reach a consensus on the new minimum wage at the Wednesday meeting. However, the government was forced to propose a sum of 57,000 after the committee took a 30-minute break to make further deliberations. At the meeting, in the different proposal on the minimum wage, the NLC members in the southwest states demanded 794,000 as the UTCE suggested 447,000, while in the North Central Zone hearing in Abuja, the workers demanded 709,000 as a new national minimum wage, while the counterparts in the South-South clamored for 850,000. In the Northwest, 485,000 was proposed, while the Southeast stakeholders demanded 540,000 naira minimum wage. Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has unveiled the Nigerian National Information Portal in place of the official digital gateway to comprehensive information about Nigeria. The minister, who launched the portal at the commencement of the ministerial sectorial briefings to mark the first anniversary of the Tinubu administration, said the portal serves as a centralized source for both local and international audiences, providing reliable and up-to-date information on various aspects of the nation, including the government, the people of Nigeria, the cultural heritage, and many more. Speaking earlier in his address of welcome to the sectorial briefings, the minister said the president has started laying a solid and enduring foundation that will make the life better for Nigerian people. He just expressed the commitment of President Tinubu to ensuring the cost of living and doing business in Nigeria is brought down significantly by putting more money into the pockets of Nigerians, attracting more local and foreign investment, and transforming the nation's infrastructure. In view of the recent appointment to the governing board, the president, through his media aide, Bayo Onanuga, said the review should be effected before the inauguration and retreats being planned by the nominees. This is coming after the Academic Staff Union of Universities took embark on a strike Over the alleged delays in constituting governing councils, the Federal Ministry of Education had recently released names of nominees for chairman, pro-chancellors, and members of the boards and councils of universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. The ministry, under the purview of Maman, said Tinubu is committed to ensuring strict compliance with the principle of federal character as entrenched in the Constitution. Chief of Army Staff Corps Lieutenant General Tarid Labaja has urged Nigerian troops to redouble their efforts in the discharge of their duties irrespective of the challenging environment. Labaja will disclose this while addressing the troops during his operational maiden visit to the headquarters 35th Artillery Brigade, Alamala Barracks, Abeokuta, Ogun State, said the government has the interests of the soldiers at heart and assured the troops of the Army headquarters' commitment to addressing some of the challenges. He also said some of the challenges faced by the troops are the dilapidated state of accommodation, medical centers, as well as non-existence of soldiers' club and electricity. Watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after the short break.
I hope nobody carry belle. Why you ask, oh? Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery, oh.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you.
network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadeyi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me I tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadeyi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says President Bola Tinubu is working tirelessly to reduce the cost of living and improve business operation across Nigeria. Idris said the president is committed to increasing the financial well-being of Nigerians by putting more money into their pockets, adding that efforts to attract both local and foreign investment to significantly transform the nation's infrastructure is in top gear. The minister assured that the administration will not pause or relent until it has successfully delivered truly renewed hope to all Nigerians. Bill has passed the second reading in the Nigerian Senate, seeking to revert to Nigeria's old national anthem. The old anthem, Nigeria Will Hail Thee, was replaced with the current one, Arise, O Compatriots, in 1978 during the Olusegun Obasanjo regime. Correspondent Rotimi Odewumi reports.
A bill seeking to reverse Nigeria's old national anthem has scaled through second reading on the floor of the Senate on Thursday. The bill, which was sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, enjoys overwhelming support from his colleagues during plenary. Lawmakers said the current anthem did not reflect the nation's democratic standard.
You are all aware that Nigeria, at its independence in 1960, adopted the national anthem titled Nigeria We Hail Thee. The concept, phraseology, and the ideological connotation of this anthem conveyed and epitomized the significant historic heritage of our dear country, Nigeria. The anthem, upon rendition, inspired and stimulated deep sense of patriotism in Nigerians. You will also agree with me that those who were around in the 1960s and the late 70s would attest to the fact that the anthem played quite a significant and crucial role in shaping Nigeria's national identity and unity, as well as engendered high sense of value and personal belonging amongst the citizenry.
The lawmakers who appeared unanimously in support of the proposed bill stated that the current national anthem is a product of the military junta decreed by the military and therefore should be discarded to adequately capture the nation's democratic values, integrity, and principally foster commitment to nationhood.
The national anthem of the year, that's the old one, which we are seeking to bring back, is a national anthem that meets all the ingredients of a national anthem. One is that the national anthem is supposed to evoke love on your nation. The citizens should be able to look up to the nation, Nigeria, as their own country. And that is why the opening is Nigeria we hail thee. In other words, we are placing Nigeria above all considerations as citizens of the country. Again, national anthem is supposed to be motivational. The words contained in the old national anthem are motivational, quite motivational. Apart from putting to bear our history, our composition as a people, it emphasized brotherhood above all things. Whether you are from any part of Nigeria, no matter the tongue you speak, you should be able to see the next person that is a Nigerian as your brother.
As a matter of fact, the national anthem says, "Arise, O compatriots." Who are the compatriots? That word, compatriots, is elusive. Mr. Senate President, I take indulgence of your leave to cite Lord Denny in the case of Seaford Estate against Asher. Our laws are not instruments of mathematical prescription. If it were to be so, our literature in English would have been poorer. Words are elusive. They serve no purpose. So if you say, "Arise, O compatriots," what about the non-compatriots? Are they not part of Nigeria? But if you look at the old item, it says, "Nigeria we hail thee." It talks to the mind of Nigeria. It starts with elevating Nigeria in its value. And a country, national item, must talk to its values.
After rigorous debate, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, referred the proposed bill to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to report back to the plenary for further legislative input. If the bill is however passed, the existing anthem will replace the whole component of the anthem. Rotimi Adewi, ATN News.
House of Representatives has passed a bill proposing that the country return back to reciting the old national anthem. The bill sponsored by the House Leader, Honorable Julius Ihobere, which was speedily passed, was considered and therefore approved at the Committee of the Whole and passed for third reading. Speaking on the bill, the majority leader said Nigerians have repeatedly on several occasions sung the current anthem without adhering to the patriotic lyrics and contained in the anthem, adding that the old national anthem, written by Lillian Jean Williams and composed by Frances Bender, is a nostalgic reminder of Nigerians' rich history and cultural heritage. However, the bill faced strong opposition from some lawmakers who said that economic challenges in the country supersedes amendment of the national anthem.
It talks about the value of our national flag, which people tend to take for granted. In fact, some nations have gone to war because people abused the national flag. It proceeds to talk about it as a symbol of what we represent as a people. Nigerians, people known all over the world. There's a video trending now which says that Nigerians are the new colonizers, and goes on to describe what we have done, intellectual sector, in IT, in music, in culture, in sports, you name it. And that we should all continue to join hands, though tribes and tongues may differ. In brotherhood we stand.
How many of Nigerians have faith in the country? Go and assess. Most Nigerians have lost confidence, have lost faith in the country. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that people are not happy on their faces. Thirdly, which is the last, the labor of our heroes past should not be in vain. Are they not in vain? My father is a retired Nigerian army. His own pension has not been...
Is this very important at this particular juncture in our national life? What value would it add to us as a nation? I think that these questions need to be answered. Nigerians are looking up to us for more fundamental issues that will cause proper change. Like Prof took us to history lane, that great men make history. What is the history that we're about to make? History that will change this country, or history that will take us backwards? There are several questions that are left unanswered.
Somebody, and many of my types, in our early 40s, I don't know how this national anthem even affect the well-being of the common man in Nigeria. Let's be realistic. How this one will support the government to stop either hunger, banditry, or improve insecurity. To us, let's do what is beneficial to the common man, and this honorable chamber is the only, for now, standing on a formidable force, a point for the common man of Nigeria. So Nigerians are looking up to us. I concur with the minority leader. Let's look up something that will bring a development in the eyes of the international community to Nigeria.
Federal lawmaker Borno State. In a related development, the House of Representatives has urged government to reopen the popular Banex Plaza in Abuja, shut down by the Nigerian army after a mob action against some soldiers, and called to reopen the market followed the adoption of a motion moved by Wigan Olusegun from Lagos State. The lawmaker condemned the action of the military and called for better crisis management through the use of surveillance technology. While the motion was subsequently adopted by the lawmakers when it was put to vote by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu.
The House is so concerned about the temporary closure of Banex Plaza, a major commercial hub affecting businesses and economy of the entire country. The over-reliance on traditional, heavy-handed method in civil matters causing unnecessary disruption. The House is still concerned about the inappropriate use of military personnel in civil matters, detracting from their primary role of national defense. The House further concerned that the Okwama crisis in Delta State, where 17 soldiers were killed, allegedly while on peace mission, led to severe military reprisal and significant destruction. This highlights the ineffective role of engagement and the need for review of military intervention in civil matters.
This is coming after the Nigerian army shut down the Popular Plaza on Tuesday after an officer was reportedly mobbed. House of Representatives advised the Nigerian army to open the Banex Plaza in Abuja and end the illegal shutdown of the market. This is coming after the army shut down the Popular Plaza on Tuesday, just after an officer was reportedly mobbed. The House called for the opening of the market on Thursday following the adoption of a motion moved by Wigan Olusegun from Lagos State. In the motion, the lawmaker narrated the circumstances that led to the mob action and the subsequent action of the military after he condemned the action of the military and called for the better crisis management through the use of surveillance technology. The motion was subsequently adopted by the lawmaker when it was put to vote by the Deputy Speaker, Ben Kalu. House of Representatives has queried the Ministry of Health on the disengagement of a local contractor in a $100 million loan agreement between Nigeria and the Islamic Development Bank meant to address the challenge of malaria in the country. In a stakeholders meeting to address the matter, Chairman of the Committee on HIV/AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria expressed displeasure that accord that was expected during the intervention did not happen after signing the agreement in 2022. In a meeting organized to address the logjam that seemed to have crippled the implementation of the Islamic Bank loan to support malaria elimination in Nigeria under the Lives and Livelihood Project, Minister of Health Professor Mohammed Patey was directed to provide a comprehensive report of the transaction pertaining to the agreement to the committee within 2 weeks. Then report is expected to explain in detail why the local vendors approved for the agreement were disqualified and not given access to the job. The project aims to reduce under 5 mortality in Nigeria from 132 to 79 per 1,000 births by 2030.
If UNOPS here can tell us, as a country, that they cannot tell us what the local manufacturer have done that made them to disqualify this local manufacturer. See, the reason why all of us are here is because of one thing: Nigeria. If it's a grant or aid, we won't spend our time. When we are here, because it's a loan that we are going to pay back. With interest. With interest. That is the pain. If we don't pay this money, our children will still pay for it.
House of Representatives had mandated its committee on Niger Delta to investigate the contracts for the Obokuma clan erosion protection in Bayelsa State awarded more than 20 years ago. The contract was awarded by the Niger Delta Development Commission in May 2004, while the member representing the Obokuma Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State, Obukun Ofoji, brought the matter before the House during plenary. Addressing his colleagues, the lawmaker said in May 2004, the NDDC awarded the contract of shoreline protection in the Obokuma Kingdom due to erosion problems and devastating of the environment to Jide Opola of Dredging Atlantic Limited, and claimed that the company had a reputation for abandoning projects. The motion was subsequently referred to the Committee on NDDC by the resolution of the House. House of Representatives Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility has summoned electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, and the generation companies, GENCOs, over failures to perform their corporate social responsibility commitments in host communities. The committee expressed displeasure over the failure of the Chief Executive Officer of the DISCOs and GENCOs to honor its invitations. While a member of the committee, Obiagelu Orobu, who disclosed this in Abuja during an investigation into the compliance of the DISCOs to corporate social responsibility requirements in their host communities, lashed out the DISCOs for sending junior managers to represent them without a written authorization, adding that it was disrespectful to GENCOs not to send representatives. She also frowned at the failure to submit a 5-year audited account and detailed information on the corporate social responsibility activities carried out within their host communities, and ordered the clerk of the committee, Emmanuel Chukwu, to send another summons to the DISCOs and GENCOs to appear at a date in June. She also said failure to honor the invitation will compel the committee to take appropriate measures to force them to appear before it, adding that the meeting was an interactive session intended to confirm how the DISCOs and GENCOs had been relating with their host communities regarding corporate social responsibility programs. Obiagelu Orubu said the committee had the mandate of the leadership of the House to undertake the assignment, and as such would expect maximum and diligent cooperation from the electricity companies. Business news. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and Oil, Henneken Lapobiri, says about $16.6 billion investment had been committed to Nigeria's oil and gas sector in the past 1 year. He spoke in Abuja while providing updates on achievements in the oil sector since President Bola Tinubu assumed office on May 29, 2023. Lopobiri also said Nigeria witnessed increased crude oil production since Tinubu assumed office, and efforts were made towards revamping redundant oil sectors to activate status, adding that there were continuous engagements with international Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission says Nigerian produced 159,158,991 barrels of crude oil in the first 4 months of 2024. According to the data, 44.2 million barrels of the crude were produced in January with an average daily production of 1.42 million barrels per day, while in February the country pumped 38.3 million barrels of oil at an average of 1.32 barrels. Similarly, 38.1 barrels were produced in March, when the country's daily output slumped to 1.23 million barrels per day, and the daily oil production rose marginally to 1.28 million barrels per day in April, while the monthly production was 38.4 million barrels. This is coming after the group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, expressed regret over the negative impact of oil theft and vandalism on the nation's economy, stressing that the acts discourage investment in the oil and gas sector. Kerry also said the country's output inched toward 1.7 as of May 18, expressing optimism about increased oil production going forward. Minister of Youth Development Jamila Bio Ibrahim says the Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of the Presidential Initiative of the Youth Entrepreneurship Cluster. According to her, the first 6 clusters will be activated in the coming weeks and will empower 50,000 entrepreneurs, creating up to 500,000 direct jobs and over 2 million indirect engagement for young Nigerians. The minister will disclose this during the ongoing ministerial sectorial update to make the first anniversary of President Bola Tinubu's administration held in Abuja. Also highlighted the establishment of the Next Gen Bank, a specialized financial institution which aims to support youth-led initiatives in strategic sectors, providing vital financial services with an initial government investment of 5 billion naira, matched by contributions from Bank of Industry and private sector partners. Ibrahim also said the ministry has initiated a National Youth Skills Program to train 300,000 National Youth Service Corps members and 700,000 young people outside the NYSC scheme in the informal sector. The minister said the skills program would serve as the administration's non-kinetic approach to solving challenges of insecurity. Federal government says the United Arab Emirates visa ban on Nigeria has been resolved. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo, who disclosed this in a statement released in response to criticism by Osita Chidoka, a former aviation minister, said the declaration of the UAE lifting its visa ban on Nigerians is imminent. However, Keyamo said resolving the diplomatic route between the two countries is essential because several Nigerians visit the UAE and invest there, adding that the federal government had made several claims about the UAE lifting the visa ban on Nigerians, which turned out to be inaccurate. This is coming after, on March 5th, the presidency shared a document declaring the restriction had been lifted, while Bayo Onanuga, President Bola Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, clarified that the Nigerian and UAE government did not authorize the document. Similarly, on September 11, the federal government also claimed that the United Arab Emirates had lifted its visa ban on Nigerians. Federal government says it spent 628.61 billion naira as subsidy on electricity in 2023, while power distribution companies collected a total revenue of 1.08 trillion naira during the same period. Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, which gave the analysis of figures from the power sector regulator, indicated that the electricity subsidies continued to increase every quarter all through last year, and subsidies on power in the first, second, third, and fourth quarters of 2024 were 36.02 million naira, 135.23 million naira, 204.6 billion naira, and 252.76 billion naira, respectively. The rise in revenue by discos prompted calls for improved services from the power firms as consumers condemned the discos' inability to deliver satisfactory, while the federal government undertakes to cover the resultant gap between the cost-reflective and allowed tariff in the form of tariff subsidies. For ease of administration, the subsidy is only applied to the power generation cost payable by discos to Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, which is a power trader in the sector, while the transmission and administrative service cost payable by discos to the market operator, an arm of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, are recovered 100%. It also said the power generation cost is a major component that guarantees electricity generations and supply across the country. Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Dayo Moberola, has lauded the contributions of women in the maritime sector to do better. A statement signed by the Assistant Director of Head Public Relations, Nimasa Osage Edward, in commemoration of the International Day for Women in Maritime in Lagos State, said the International Day for Women in Maritime was established by the International Maritime Organization to honor and celebrate the invaluable contribution and resilience of women across various segments of the maritime sector. Moberola, represented by the Executive Director of Maritime Labor and Cabotage Services, Jibril Abba, said the agency appreciated the contribution of women to the development of the Nigerian maritime industry. Earlier in a presentation, the Director of Financial Services at NIMASA, Mrs. Olamide Odusaya, appreciated the IMO for creating an inclusive and supportive environment to recognize women in maritime in line with the supervision sustainable. Bank of Industry says 75,809 beneficiaries received credit funding worth 496.72 million in 2023. The loans were disbursed to beneficiaries, which include large, medium, small, and micro enterprises, creating approximately 20 million direct and indirect jobs across the country. The chairman of the Shareholders Committee of the bank, Mohammed Bala, said the figure at the 64th Annual General Meeting in Abuja was profit before the tax of 153.81 billion naira for 2023, marking a 117.69% increase from the previous year's 70.7 billion naira, representing the highest in the history of the bank. He said the bank's total assets surged by 64.6%, rising from 2.37 trillion naira to 3.91 trillion naira, while the Bank of Industry strengthened financial foundation and expanded capacity to support Nigeria's industrial sector. The committee chairman also said the Bank of Industry total equity experienced a substantial boost, growing by 57.7% from 427 billion naira to 678 billion naira, while loans and advances witnessed a remarkable increase of 41.5%, growing from 803.6 billion naira to 1.14 trillion naira. Central Bank of Nigeria has mandated all existing bureau de change operators to reapply for new licenses in their preferred category. A circular issued by the Apex Bank, which was signed by the Director of the Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Haruna Mustafa, said the BDC operators have rejected the new licensing guidelines, stressing that it is against best global practices and should streamline BDC operations and enhance financial accessibility. The Apex Bank noted that the BDCs were expected to adhere to corporate governance requirements, an anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing, and counter-proliferation financing provision. And a day after the Monetary Policy Committee of the Apex Bank, it raised the benchmark lending rates to 26.25% to tackle the inflation. Reading the communique of the meeting, the governor of the CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, said the volatility in the foreign exchange markets attributes to the seasonal demand, which is a reflection of the interplay between demand and supply, freely functioning market system. The Naira has depreciated significantly since the CBN unified the country's exchange rates, trading between 1,400 Naira per dollar and 1,600 Naira per dollar at the official and parallel markets in the last 2 weeks. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next, international tidbits. Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners, a non-governmental organization, has demanded the recall of 35 members of the National Assembly for allegedly abandoning their duties after being engaged as legislators of the ECOWAS Parliament. The administrative secretary of the group, Jesse Williams, said members of the association are constituents of the concerned lawmakers and are affected by the alleged abandonment of representation and legislative duties by the 35 legislators. Williams alleged that the 35 National Assembly members who were elected by Nigerians to represent them are now full-fledged members of the ECOWAS Parliament after the inauguration in April 2024. The ECOWAS Parliament, which was established under Articles 6 and 13 of the ECOWAS Revised Treaty of 1993, is composed of 115 seats. Out of it, Nigeria occupies 35, and the 35 members of the National Assembly who were inaugurated as members of the ECOWAS Parliament include Deputy Senate President Barrow Jibril, who is the acting Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. Justifying the demand for the recall of the lawmakers, Williams asked the leadership of the National Assembly to declare their seats vacant due to their illegal concurrent membership of the National Assembly and the ECOWAS Parliament, insisting that the practice of serving the various bodies at the same time violates Section 68, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution and Article 18, the Supplementary Act of the ECOWAS Parliament 2017, which prohibits a seven-member of a parliament serving with and collecting emoluments. 9 persons are feared dead after a child and about 50 people have been injured when a stage collapsed at an election rally in Mexico's northern Nuevo Leon state. The incident occurred as central-left presidential candidate George Alvarez Menez was delivering a speech in the city of San Pedro Garcia near Monterrey, and while Menez was uninjured in the collapse and was seen speaking to supporters following the incident, several members of his team were hurt. Menez also said in a post on X that the collapse was caused by a sudden gust of wind, and he waved to his supporters and then ran to the back of the stage for safety as he realized part of the structure was toppling over. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said he has sent a hug to family members, friends of the victims, and political supporters. China has started 2 days of military exercise around Taiwan, with its military calling them strong punishment for the Self-Ruled Islands Separatist Act. The drills come 3 days after the inauguration of President William Lai, who called on China to stop treating the island and accept the existence of its democracy. China says Taiwan as a breakaway province that will eventually be under Beijing's control, but the island sees itself as distinct. Taiwan's defense military condemned the Chinese drills as irrational provocations. The drill also included a component to the east of the Taiwan, the island's rugged east coast on the other side of a mountain range has been this coast. Along this coast, including a large underground airbase inside a mountain near the city of Hainan. It is also close to Japan's southern islands and the natural resupply routes. Here now is ATN Sports News. Golden Eagles of Nigeria succeeded to the semi-finals at the WAFU B Under-17 Championship after a comfortable 3-win against Togo. A brace from Abdulmuse Adeleke and Rafa Adams gave the Eagles maximum points in the game. Adeleke scored the curtain raiser 11 minutes after he set up Abdulmuse Oladimeji. He missed a chance to score a hat-trick after failing to convert from the spot in the 68th minute. The Golden Eagles finished top of Group B with 7 points from 3 games, while Manu Garba's boys will face Cote d'Ivoire in the semi-finals. Super Eagles assistant coach Benjamin James is confident the new backroom staff can build one of the strongest national teams in the world. The former shooting star player was part of the new Super Eagles technical crew unveiled by the Nigerian Football Federation last week. James will combine the role with his job at Bendiglia Club, Hoffenheim, and the head coach Finidi George and Daniel Omokachi to build a solid team. The new technical crew's first official assignment will be the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying match against South Africa. Nigerian defender Kenneth Omere insists his compatriot Ademola Lookman should win the 2024 CAF Player of the Year award. Lookman was a star of the show as Atlanta defeated Bayern 3-0 in the final of the UEFA European League on Wednesday night. The tricky winger scored all 3 goals for Gianpiero Gasperini's side in the thrilling contest, while the Nigerian defender Kenneth Omero insists his compatriot Ademola Lookman should win the 2024 CAF Player of the Year award. The former Everton and Leicester City player scored 3 goals in 7 outings at the competition. Next is entertainment news. President, Actors Guild of Nigeria, Emeka Rollas, says he will be meeting with members of the association to come up with a collective stand on the directive by the federal government to stop money rituals, smoking, and crime scenes in Nigerian movies. A statement by the Executive Director, National Film and Video Censors Board, Shaibu Hassani, said the federal government had banned such scenes in movies because of the concerns about the use of such scenes to glamorize actions that would create further harm than good in society. Rollas says it was possible to tell stories about money rituals without glamorizing rituals, while the national president, Theatre Arts and Motion Pictures Producers Association of Nigeria, Bolaji Amusan, said he would be meeting with members of the association to discuss the new directive by the federal government. Nigerian singer and cleric Banky W says contrary to popular belief, money isn't the key to happiness. According to him, if money was the key to happiness, billionaires would not commit suicide. He also said, according to the scripture, what will it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his own soul? Veteran Nigerian singer John Odafe Esimio, a.k.a. Daddy Shoki, says he discovered his musical talent while working in a motor park. On the controversy of young artists denying musical legends' contribution to the success of their careers, Daddy Shoki said he wasn't interested in giving himself any accolades for paving the way for young artists. He also said it is left for the young artists who benefited from his legacy to admit it. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Court orders police to pay Monarch 3 million naira compensation. Cross River State Assembly Speaker impeached. Senator convenes security summit over herdsmen attack. President Tinubu approves 750 million